Across the last 3 years, Centria has been on a mission to fundamentally transform the model of care for our clients, our staff, and the industry.
We will share with you our journey towards assent-based care, the lessons we've learned, and the people we've learned them with.
We're your hosts, Timothy Yeager
And Hillary Laney.
Welcome to the HRE Podcast. Well, thank you, Mariam, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, guys.
So happy you're here.
I'm really excited to get to talk to you because we haven't had a lot of time talking, and all I hear is great things about you.
Thank you.
I'm hoping to learn more about that. But first off, for people watching and listening, tell us who you are, tell us what you do, and how long you've been doing it at Centria.
Yeah. My name is Mariam. I've been with Centria for 6 years.
Wow.
But as a technician in RBT for 5 and 1 year and a half as a BCaBA. I work at the Dearborn Center. So, yeah, I'm learning a lot. So I'm happy to be here.
Am I correct in saying that, like, BCaBA is in the future?
Oh, yeah. I just graduated with my master's.
Congratulations.
I know. I'm so happy. Just been studying for my boards right now.
Good.
But, yeah.
You already passed it once.
Yeah, there you go.
I did the same thing, and I didn't study the second time because I was like, I already did this. It was fine.
Yeah?
It's not harder.
Okay. It's just like, it feels like just touch-ups a little bit like that, but
You'll do great.
thank you.
That's awesome. So you've been at Centria for a long time. Mm-hmm. So we're here to talk about our Foundations of Care rollout, but I thought maybe we could start with, like, what you've seen this organization, like, what it was like when you were a tech, and, like, how you're seeing changes and your thoughts on that.
Okay. So when I was a tech, I feel like there's some things I agreed with and some things I did not understand, you know? It's like, why are we pushing this kid a little hard when he's not comfortable, you know? Things like that I kind of question. But I seen some good examples from, like, other BCBAs, and I'm like, wait, this is the route I want to go. But there wasn't, like, a set name to it or, like, what it was. But I seen that compassionate side, and I was like, that's what I want to be. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I wanted to be. And that's what kind of pushed me to become a BCaBA right now.
So what's the mentorship been like for you?
Mentorship for FOC?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I love Cindy. It's been amazing. Like, just hearing about skill-based treatment and PFA, I was like, wow, this is it. You know, when I was a technician thinking about I wanted to go a certain route, this was it. So I was scared. It was something new. Everyone was like, oh, you know, healthy skepticism, philosophical doubt.
Yep.
So, yeah, I was like, okay. I'm like, it's something new. We've heard things like that before, that's some new rollout coming out in our company, but we weren't sure, like, what it was going to be and how it's like. We heard good things and we heard some not so great things. So just rolling it out during the mentorship and just seeing the changes with the clients, how they went from really uncomfortable, working just really uncomfortable, and being so comfortable just being in the center. I think that's what really made me, like, gain buy-in. I was like, yes, this is me. This is what I want. So I was super excited. I'm like, yes, let's go for it. So I had buy-in right at the start when I heard about HRE.
So tell us, what is your HRE?
My HRE? Oh, it's not in Michigan for sure. Could be somewhere tropical, on a beach somewhere, just having, like, you know, cold drink with family, just like not worried about anything, you know, just thinking about what's there in the moment and like enjoying life. That's my HRE.
Michigan beaches don't do it.
No, Michigan is not it right now.
I was actually just talking to David and Eric about that last night, which is the ocean. They asked me, like, mountains or ocean. And for me, ocean.
Yeah.
Because, like, the waves are a very, like present moment inducing, like, thing, right? Like, it's just like a meditative thing.
It is very meditative.
Yeah.
The sound, the smells, the experience.
I love that. Yeah, I feel like our field is so, like, fast paced, and you're just like need that moment to kind of, like, take it in, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I need right now. So I'm like, I need a vacation after I pass my board exam.
You can do it.
Well, philosophical doubt, you already got one
Check
question answered.
Love that.
So you're at Dearborn.
Yeah.
Our largest center, like, you know, ground zero for for our rollout.
Yeah.
Were you part of the initial work that when did you start?
I wasn't the initial in January. I was like around the March where you guys were redoing it, if that
Got
makes
it.
sense. When you guys visited us. So yeah, that's when I started.
Let me ask more about that to you. So Dearborn, for those who don't know, we reevaluated.
A couple
Dearborn
times.
was like our learning grounds, and I'm assuming like that shift was the foundational plan. Is that
Yeah, so I think the first one you're talking about, Mariam, is when we came in and hosted the workshop here, and everyone came, and then we did a bunch of PFAs. You were not a part of that.
No, I
right?
was like, oh my God.
You
this
were
is
a
so
technician
cool.
at that time, right?
Yes.
And
wow.
then we did everyone through mentorship, and then we added the foundational plan because we learned so much. And we kind of told everyone at Dearborn, plus I think there are about 4 new people, that we really wanted them to go through it again because we had reevaluated. We realized that the foundational plan was an integral part. And we realized that like alongside direct coaching of SBT, you needed foundational learning. And so we added we didn't have e-learning at that time, but we added all of our learning modules where clinicians would come to meetings and learn about SBT. And so Mariam got put into that group, and we went and put almost everyone in Dearborn back through.
I always tell my coworkers, I'm like, I think I came in at the right time. It was like right when you guys started the mentorship, and I was like, yes,
Yeah.
right day one, and I was like right into SBT. So yeah, I feel like I
And have always been so enthusiastic and excited about it. Even through your philosophic doubt, Mariam has always been just so open and excited and willing to learn. You've been a joy for us to work with.
Thank you. You guys have been awesome, just overall with the experience. So thank you.
So glad.
So starting in this way, it's really hard to ask like what was like before and after, but like
As a clinician,
yeah, but how has this prepared you to like you saw what you wanted to do as a technician, you're able to identify certain things, but like how do you think that like you're a better clinician now as a result of going through mentorship?
yeah, as a technician, I mean, I was doing training for like new technicians coming in for a year. So I wanted to teach them, but just looking at the behavior plan, some things I didn't agree with, but I had to implement it, right? It wasn't a foundation, BIP, right? It was in the BIP. So I had to implement it no matter what. But did I agree with most of it? Probably not. But like I said, I wanted to do something different, but I didn't know what it was. But I know what we were doing before skill-based treatment, PFA. It wasn't
it?
It was not it. I mean, I will say, like, some clinicians, like, have been amazing with implementing it without actually using skill-based treatment. They were just compassionate, understanding the client and, like, allowing them to express themselves, you know what I mean? And it was okay, but some was like, nope, you're going to do this work. You're going to work hard. And when you're done, you're done. It's always my way. It's their way. It's never the client's way, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
You worked you've been at Dearborn for a while, and we visited Dearborn a lot. And I'm curious from your perspective, one of the things that when I first started coming to Dearborn that I've seen transform the most is the willingness and ability for anyone at Dearborn to receive and give feedback. And so I would walk in the center, and it was like, for better or for worse, people didn't know who I was, which was, for me at the time, good, because I could observe things that maybe they wouldn't have done if they knew who I was. And there was no way in any universe I could have said anything to someone who was doing something that was unethical without it becoming a really big deal.
Yeah.
Because that just wasn't the culture. Mm-hmm. Now I could walk into Dearborn any day and see anything and say anything without even having met that person before, and it is okay. Like, people accept that feedback, they're open, and they're willing to hear it. What was that transformation like to go through? Like, what do you think made that change, and how were you a part of it?
Yeah, I love that question. That's a really good question. I think it was like the buy-in with the company, like overall, like people came in just to find a job, as technicians, like they wanted a job. They heard about this great paying place and they just wanted to come in, right? But the feedback overall, like the environment overall, was just more kind of like, it wasn't like, I don't know how to put it in like a really nice way.
I have to say it nicely.
Yeah, I'm trying to be.
It wasn't a very positive environment.
It wasn't a positive environment. I will say that. The environment overall, it really, really wasn't. It was kind of like they felt, or most of us felt like somebody was out there to get me. You know what I mean? That's the environment, like how it was before you guys came along. So I would say that's kind of like the environment. And after that, just using STEAM with the clients, it generalizes with us as clinicians, using it with the technicians, you know, just validating their feelings, empathizing with them. Like, they wanted to take a day off because they're not feeling good. You know, I'm sorry you're not feeling good. You know, if there anything I can do for you. I feel like we always had to be like, put on our clinician hat of like, oh no, this is what we need for our client. Before, you have to be there, and we're not considering it. They are human, you know? They're human, yeah. We have a job to do, but everyone there, you know, have personal lives and stuff like that. So I think as you guys introduced STEAM, the boundary setting STEAM, and like how to validate, empathize, and tact our feelings, it just overall, like everyone, I can even hear it with the technicians talking to each other. Like, oh my God, I'm sorry you went through that. I'm sorry. And I'm just like, oh my God, I love that. And not just with like the clinician with the technicians are implementing it with the client.
Which is so great.
That's
every time I walk through there, I just hear it. It's like music to my ears.
My favorite thing is when a new technician comes in and they're already implementing stuff.
Oh, that's great.
I love that. And I'm just like, yes, you go, girl. I love it.
What's STEAM, Hillary?
Oh, what's STEAM? Okay, so STEAM is our procedure that we've developed to set boundaries in a way that's compassionate and dignified to learners. And so it's an acronym. And really, and I'll explain the acronym, but really the issue that we see a lot is when something is not going to be a choice, it's not going to be an option, we tend to avoid it because we know it's going to cause a behavior. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because by avoiding it, we actually turn something into a much bigger deal than it needs to be, rather than if we just faced it head on, right? Clear is kind. And so it's our way of being clear and kind with our clients through difficult moments when we can't acquiesce, we can't give them what they're asking for. And so STEAM starts with S, which is set a clear and kind boundary, do it early and do it confidently. T is tact, so just acknowledge what's happening in the environment. Like, I see you wanted that toy. E is empathize. You're really frustrated. You just see the world from their point of view. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate, but just you can, you know, make some guesses about how they're feeling based on how they're acting, and so you can acknowledge that for them. A is allow non-judgmental time, which means like don't try to move them on. Like, they're upset, they're allowed to be upset. Allow them to have this moment. There's no need to make them not. Like, it's okay for people to be frustrated. Give them the time to be frustrated. And then M is that we decide to move on when the client is ready, not when we have decided it's their agenda, not our agenda. So when they show signs of that de-escalation, when they show that they're back to HRE, or they're coming back into a state of being happy, relaxed, and engaged, following a boundary or following a situation that was difficult, then we can offer the opportunity to move on, and we don't do it before then because it could re-escalate the cycle. Or it could also teach skills we don't want to teach, which is like stuff your feelings down, don't feel them, and just move on and never deal with what's going on in the environment. It's a really effective tool we've implemented across the company now. And it's my child.
The thing that you said that I haven't heard, which I like, you know, I continue to go back to like this analogy of like steam and like the buildup of steam, like we're letting the steam out of things. But that idea of doing it early and quick.
Yeah.
Because that like there is a pressure cooker type of thing that
There is.
like as things like go on, like more energy, more potential for like outburst.
When I train people on this, I use an example, and so we can just do this right now. So if you were, let's say, going to Starbucks, right, and you're going through the drive-thru, and I always order a vanilla latte. So I go to the drive-thru and I order a vanilla latte, and the person on the other end goes, "Oh, do you want a chocolate milk?" And I'm like, "No, I want a vanilla latte." And they say, "Oh, I can make you a frappe." Well, I hate frozen drinks. Look, I don't want a vanilla latte. "Oh, I can make it iced for you." I would like a vanilla latte, please. Yeah. And so then they just keep going and going, like, do you want chocolate chip cookie? Do you want this? Do you want that? And they never acknowledge that I wanted the vanilla latte. And what they're avoiding is telling me that they're out of whole milk or they're out of vanilla and they can't make my drink. So it's not an option. But they're, instead of just saying it to me and letting me be pissed, because they're avoiding it. And they're doing all of these other behaviors to try to get me to avoid it too, but I'm now just going to get more frustrated, right? Whereas I'm still going to be pissed that Starbucks doesn't have my vanilla latte, right? And I might be that customer who goes off and does something really bad, just like some of our clients might engage in some really destructive behaviors. But I was going to do that anyway, right?
Yeah.
So whether you tell me now or you tell me later, it's not really going to change the outcome, except for you're not prolonging the exposure to the uncomfortable moment. You're instead just dealing with it head on.
So, Mariam, how many times have you seen a client on the ground when you were a tech and like someone standing over them with like a cookie or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? Right?
Yes.
When it's like, that's not at all what they wanted.
Honestly, all the time,
Yeah.
all day, every day. You know, it's just like, it's like a constant thing. Like, nope, I'm going to get them up with a cookie. And that's not what the kid wanted. He just wanted like 5 minutes at the playroom.
Just to be
five
there.
more minutes.
Yeah.
That's all he wanted.
Or to just be upset that
Yeah.
he didn't get the 5 minutes,
Yeah.
right? Which
There
is
you
okay
go.
too.
There
Yep.
you go.
So, like, back to Hillary's question, like, now looking, you go to Dearborn, like, what do you see differently? Like, what does it look like?
The environment.
Of like the interactions and how
Yeah.
staff are talking to each other.
Yes. I think that overall the environment is, like Hillary said, very positive. Everyone's taking feedback very well, regardless if they're your clinician or not. You know, we have like lead technicians too. So technicians are giving feedback to each other too. And the technicians are taking those feedback and maybe giving the person receiving the feedback or giving the feedback more feedback about how they gave the feedback, you know? So it's like really, really cool. And I will say, I think I can confidently say that STEAM was really like the best thing ever for Centria overall. Really, really.
It's created a common language.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. That's perfect.
So we're talking about all the amazing things, right? Which is
Yeah.
great. I loved, and I have seen when I walk through Dearborn, I hear STEAM everywhere. It's just this wonderful. What do you think still needs to happen to improve services at Dearborn?
Ooh, that's a good question. You're trying to get me in trouble. Just
No.
kidding.
There's no trouble.
I would say definitely more clinical support overall. Just I really loved like the mentorship. I just feel like it needs a little more, like just pushing through.
Yeah.
You know, checking in and making sure that we're still doing what we're doing. You know, we're all doing our best. We still like honestly give each other feedback and like we do a great job overall. I just think that you guys need to do the little check-ins like, hey,
Yeah.
how's everyone doing? And, you know, we didn't let you guys go after the mentorship, right?
Yeah.
We're still here, you know, because we were like, did you guys leave us? Did you guys forget about us? That's how we feel, really. Or I feel.
We spent so much time together, and now
Yeah.
we're not there as much.
Yeah, I know. Like, what? We built this
You
relationship
graduated.
with you guys. Where are you guys? Yeah.
How is this work, STEAM maybe, or foundational plans, like impacted your like ability to provide like engagement to parents and how you work with parents?
Yes. I will say they always come in and the first thing they say they will tell you what happened at home, right? They'll give you a story about the worst thing that happened, right? And just talking to them and using STEAM to go through that process. I didn't know I was doing it, by the way. When I was doing it, it just came natural, you know. Just let them let it out, you know. We talked about it, validated their feelings, empathize with them, you know. Just allow them that time to move on. And then we were ready to move on and talk about what they're doing at the center and how can we support you, you know. And then just
I can remember as a BCBA, like trying to just like get through all that stuff so I can get to the things that I needed to talk about.
Yes, and then teaching them how to implement STEAM with their child was the best thing ever as well.
You have a pretty cool client outcome around this.
Yeah. I think it was really cool when one of the parent who's been with Centria for so long, right, just never knew what to do with her client, her child. She was super scared. She didn't want to approach him with anything. It's like, I'll just give you
because he would be
whatever you want.
so aggressive.
Yes.
And it was really scary behaviors
It
and
was.
self-injury.
Yes.
This is a client that Timothy has seen in the center before.
Yeah.
With Paige.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, so good. And then like Dave, you know, we role modeled how to do it. You know, we used BST, right? We started just role playing and talking about what STEAM is and how do we implement it. You know, we watched videos how to implement it with her child, right? And I think the best thing was with her when she role played it with me and how confident she got. When she first did it, she was just kind of like going with the flow. And then she felt confident after I reinforced her behavior, and she kept going and going. And I'm like, whoa, you just implement your first team. And it felt so good. And she said that she done it at home and it worked wonders. So,
And you guys were practicing it at the clinic
yeah.
too.
Yep.
And so he
clinic.
was already kind of aware. And speaking of that common language, Timothy, right? Like we think about the common language amongst technicians, but in a situation like this, like using something like STEAM is it can become a very powerful SD that can then translate and generalize across environments. And so we have a parent who's so afraid to set a boundary with her child. Yes. And so we practiced at the center significantly how to do it and taught him the skills to manage the boundary, and then had mom generalize to home, and he generalized it really well.
Love that. I love that. Yeah.
And we have a success story
Yeah.
about the child too.
Yes, we do.
He was featured on In the Know.
We have two, actually.
So your sister,
yeah, I got her in
technician.
here. Yep, got her in ABA.
What's that been like?
It's great, you know. I always wanted to talk about like ABA with my family, but they just didn't understand what it was, right? They were just like, oh, yeah, sure, Mary, you're always talking about ABA. I'm like, yeah, I want somebody to relate with me at home too. So it was kind of cool. Now we were like talking about ABA and like SBT and like just overall happy, relaxed, and engaged. Yeah.
Is she going to become a BCBA?
I want her to be.
You and Hajar will both be like have this whole situation with your sisters.
Exactly. She has like two now at the gym.
Oh wow.
Yeah, two there, one technician and one a clinician.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Hajar Furkan and I don't know her other sister's name.
Zainab.
Oh yeah, I've met her too.
Yes.
Yeah, when I went to the center.
Yeah.
It's great. I'll keep it in the family.
Yeah. Bring all my sisters into it.
We're always hiring.
Yeah. I love that.
So you're at Centria. You want to become a tech. You're a tech. You want to become a BCBA.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how have you grown? And what are your goals? Like, what's next for you?
What's next for me?
You're gonna pass the test.
Yes, that's the
Right?
first thing. Just want to pass the test and see where.
When
I
are you
wanna
sitting?
go.
When are you sitting?
I haven't set up a date yet. Yeah, I
Soon.
Just,
Goal number
I just
one: set the date.
I just submitted my application. I'm
Okay.
waiting
good.
for it
All
to
right.
get approved.
All right,
So,
good.
Yeah. I want to move up, you know, I really do. And right now I'm just focused on passing the exam. I'm focusing on passing the exam right now. But yes, I definitely do want to do something different, right? I know I want to make a change. I just want the right tools and the right environment to do so. Yeah. Yeah.
So at the company right now, we're going through a big transition from our current model into a model where we have directors of clinical services.
Yes.
Right. So there's a lot changing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are feeling that. But because of the relationship I've had with Dearborn, I can imagine that it is extra sensitive and it's a lot of extra change at Dearborn right now. Can you talk to us about like the challenges you foresee through that change, but also the positive components that you think will come with the changes that we're making?
That's a good one.
And if there's things you want to say and then you want us to let go of later, that's okay. You can be candid.
I mean, I will say change is like scary for everyone, right? We know what's gonna happen, but we don't know exactly like what's gonna happen. So it's very like nerve-wracking, and we're not sure what's gonna happen, and the unknown is really scary. But I know just based off the mentorship that you guys provided, like I said, we already gained buy-in with you guys, you know, with the company overall. So I know this change is gonna be for the better. I know it is. So I'm excited about it, and it's gonna be interesting because we don't know what's gonna happen. But I will say I'm looking forward to it.
How are your peers feeling about it?
You're trying to get me in trouble. Just kidding.
There's no one to get in
I'm just kidding.
You can be candid with us, Mariam.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I mean, it's scary. We don't know. Like, you know, Ian's not there anymore.
Yeah.
So it's really scary. And I'm like, I don't know who's going to be. Because I will say one thing about Ian, he was really, really good at, like, giving feedback and supporting us through the whole process. Because he was my supervisor as well for my practicum hours.
Yeah.
So anytime I ran through an issue, he was always there to help. So knowing that, but I also do have the leads, you know.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels good, like we still have somebody, right? So if it was just him, it would have been super.
The thing that I can assure you with those,
Yeah, go
the
ahead.
one thing you,
I need reassurance right now.
is the one thing you said that we could do better
Yeah.
was more clinical support,
Yeah.
more checking in, right? More guidance. And that's what this whole model is built off of that we're rolling towards,
Oh.
right? Is more clinical leadership, more like local clinical leadership to support you guys.
I love
And
that.
so while like change is unnerving for some people, and I think the unknown is more like how is it going to happen, and like what are the rough spots going to happen during a transition.
Who's gonna do what?
Yeah.
Who's going to do what? Ultimately, it's we're going down a direction to address the one need that you also talked about, right?
See, I knew I trusted you guys.
The one thing that's interesting is like, that I think comes up quite a bit and hasn't across the first two interviews here is a distrust of company initiatives.
Yeah.
And like eye roll to like, oh, here's another thing.
It's not going to be around in 6 months. Who knows what it's going to look like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we've built some rapport through the mentorship and being steadfast to that and sticking to that. And some of the other changes that we've rolled out, like these aren't things that we want to just like try. Like you don't go and train 350 plus BCBAs on a process and send them through 6 months of mentorship just because you're going to we're just going to give this a try for a few months.
Just test it out. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe we'll give it up a couple months later.
Yeah. Not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a big change. And I think, Ian's done an incredible job leading Dearborn, but he's one person for such a large space. And so, now there will be a more direct line clinically. Like, I hear from you. I didn't hear from you guys again. And as much as I would love to continue to do overlaps with you and continue to have my team contact you, our resources are sparse. Yeah. But the resources that are not sparse are the people who are actually in Dearborn. And how do we utilize those resources to better support the ecosystem of the clinic? And of course, bring us in if you need us, but wouldn't it be better if you didn't need to call us in, right? If we weren't the ones who had to do all the training, if there was a trainer at Dearborn for SBT, if there was somebody who was able to onboard people and you didn't necessarily need me or my team to come in and do that. You had a self-surviving system because we're taking responsibilities off of clinical directors of clinical services, and we're going to allow them to engage in the activities that directly impact you and directly impact your clients.
I love that.
So change is hard and it's scary and it's never easy. Even with the best laid plans, things don't go smoothly. But I don't know if you were here this morning for Timothy's talk. Were you able to make it? Yeah.
Trying to put in some
Some
supervision.
supervision hours. But if we're all committed to the same goal, right? How we get there, if we're doing it together, it's going to be okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I trust the process. I really do, because of what outcomes you guys have already brought in to the company.
Yeah, that's
honestly, yes.
That gives me hope.
Yeah.
It really does. Makes
Good.
me feel really hopeful.
No.
Can we talk about your first PFA?
Oh, my first PFA. Oh yeah. Let's
Yeah.
talk about
How
it.
many PFAs have you done? Huh? How many PFAs have you done?
1, 2, 3, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Miriam's like, I love this. I'm doing this a lot now.
I swear. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I know.
which client needs SPT? Let's do it. Yeah.
What was the experience like?
My experience, like with the PFA, my first PFA, was really scary because you had the clinical director in your ear, and she's like, "All right, don't worry, you'll be fine. Go ahead and do it." It did not go so well. It didn't go as great as I expected it because this was my first time, right?
Yeah.
But right away, we did see the change, like just the trust in his words. The client's like communications, like, wait. My way is powerful, or my precursor behaviors are really powerful. Just engaging those precursor levels. I don't need to escalate to dangerous or high intensity behaviors, right? All I need is those precursors. Okay, I'm going to do it. So he was engaging in those little low effort precursors. And I'm like, yes, all right, you can have your way. You can have your way, buddy. And just looking at me, looking and hearing the words, but he actually did spontaneously say my way on his own.
Wow.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because so many kids in the clinic were saying it. He modeled it during
He's
his
like, it's
PFA
my turn.
without
It's
teaching.
my turn.
It's like, I finally get
Yeah.
my way.
Yeah, he's just like, no. He's like, my way. I was like, wait, yes, you can have your way. I was like, he just said it. And Cindy was like laughing. She's like, how did he do that? I'm like, I don't know, but it's great. So we went through with FCR and TRs, tolerating no too.
In your PFA.
During the
yeah,
PFA.
during
Wow.
that first
Yeah.
scheduled overlap.
And you
Yes.
mentioned that before. That's the power here, right? Like it's like from assessment to actual treatment quickly.
How long was it? You're like before he said the my way.
It was
10, 15 minutes?
15 minutes in.
Yeah?
Yeah, around 15 minutes in. It was so cool. It was really cool. But there was no dangerous behavior, only when we set one boundary. But that was because of like some confusion. But when we removed that, we were good to go.
That's great.
Yeah.
You feel confident now to do them on your own?
Give me a PFA. Let's do it.
What would you say to somebody who's never done one before and is feeling nervous about it?
Yeah. Just trust your mentor, you know, just follow through, and it's okay if you made a mistake, you know, you can always fix that, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like the kids also like understand it's your first time. They're like, you know what? You're fine. You can try it again. So yeah, just like, it's fine. I mean, doing something new is always scary, but
It is.
I think that you can trust whoever is like helping you through the process, that it's going to be fine.
That's great.
So
Yeah.
first step though is get a mentor.
Yes, there you go.
Get a
Find a
mentor. Yeah,
mentor.
number one, get a mentor.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody who is like not willing to try, like not ready to try, or they're skeptical? They have more skepticism and they're not willing to lean in and try.
Yes. I think just understanding what is the process, right? What is the process of skill-based treatment and PFAs, right? I think just hearing what peers are saying is not enough, you know? Yeah, you can have your healthy skepticism and it's fine, but understand it from your point of view. Go to someone that loves it and ask them, why do you love it so much, you know? What do you see that others are probably not, you know? And gaining buy-in from other people is not just, you know, focusing on one route. You know, if that one person is saying, oh, I'm not really into it, it's not an intervention that I like, or it's not a process that I like, right? Do it. Go through the mentorship.
Try it.
Yes, try it. Even if you don't, what are you going to lose? You're gaining new skills in a field that is still growing, right? You're gaining new skills and you can do it. Just go through the process and then you can say, I like it or I don't like it, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's one thing we learned. I'll speak for myself. I learned.
Yeah.
I think we started off with a bit too much woo-woo, right? Like, like it's just like it's all about doing the right thing and
Yeah.
it's values, and it's like you have to be compassionate. And I think we learned across the way is like we had people push back against that like conversation, right? And like especially like the dogmatic, like this is not behavior analysis people. But it's like when they actually did it
Yep.
and they started to see it,
Contingency based.
oh, this is just
There you
like
go.
Teaching.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is just like
Learned that
shaping
term,
differential
too.
reinforcement. Like it's actually behavior analysis. Then we had a lot of people come over.
We did net a lot of people with woo though. Like our
Oh, for
first
sure.
110
Yeah.
mentees came because they're like, I want to do this because it looks cool, right?
Yeah.
It was after that the woo didn't work anymore. Then it was
Yeah.
like, get
Yeah.
out of here. I don't.
I think my favorite thing is like people that left the company are coming back for skill-based treatment PFA.
It's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, I
Every
really love
every
it.
orientation we have like boomerangs.
couple, yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're like, this is
This
not
is
the
why I
company I
came.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just spoke to my friend that's outside of the company. And she's like, tell me about it. And I was like, girl, let's go for coffee. Let's talk about it. I'm like, she's interested in coming back. So we'll see.
I bet your referral bonuses are quite high.
I mean, it's a great I think it's a great thing, right? Like it's a great recruiting tool, and it really has helped us recruit. But
Yeah.
it's not like I worry that people think we're just saying we're doing it.
Yeah.
And so I think Timothy and I are on a bit of a mission to like feel a little bit like we have to prove it. Like we're not just saying this. Like this is real. Like we are training 350 people. We are launching a behavior technician training that we've designed aligned to this that's going to be like out in the company within the next couple months. We have completely reorganized the structure of the company to support the outcomes that we want to see like in this model.
Spent a year and a half on software development.
Yeah, lots of
Wow.
lots of energy and
Yeah.
time and resources for just software development alone to support it. And so
And
yeah,
we have
it's
over 1,700 foundational plans.
1,700. Yeah, and that's not even those are just the ones we're counting.
Counting. Yeah.
I mean, if we just pulled across all of Care Connect, I think it would be more than that.
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible, and it's a great recruiting tool. Like, it's great to tell people, like, yeah, we're doing PFA and SBT. Go marketing team. But we have data, we have outcomes, we have like incredible things that have come because of this, and I think that's the better recruiting tool. It's like, cool, Centria is doing PFA and SBT, whatever. Right. But it's like, come and see what we're doing. Like, we're actually leaning in. We're putting our money where our mouth is, and like that's
Speaking
unbeatable.
of skepticism, there was a lot of skepticism out there
Yeah.
when we started this. Like,
Oh yeah.
a lot.
For sure.
And that's part of our mission, is that, like,
Internally and externally.
for sure.
And still is.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any questions for us before we wrap up?
Come back to Dearborn, guys. Check on us. Just kidding.
I jumped by last time I was here for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I saw a couple people, but it was like at 6 o'clock at night. And I was like, dang, I need to come back.
Yeah,
I miss it.
checked out at 6.
I know.
Yeah.
It was great talking to you.
It was really great talking
Really
with Mariam.
fun. Great
Yeah.
talking to you guys. You made me feel so comfortable. So I love it.
Good, I'm glad. You're
Yeah.
easy to talk to.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for leaning in
Thank
with
you,
us.
guys.
And that concludes another episode of the HRE podcast.
Thanks for listening. If the HRE podcast is a part of your synthesized reinforcers, let us know what else would make the perfect reinforcement context for you in the comments below, and join us next time.